Today's program is brought to you by PennyStockProfessor.com. For all the best OTCBB stock picks, sign up at PennyStockProfessor.com. I'm Brandon Vincent, and on behalf of all of us here at TBC, we want to thank you for joining us for another TBC Daily News Update.
Men care for their skin, and they're spending money on it. Purchases of premium-priced men's skincare face products increased by 8% in the first half of 2009, compared with the same period last year. According to the NPD Group, a market research firm, luxury skincare companies are taking note. eSpa, a spa company, has a men's line that includes a facial wash, a shave mud made with kaolin, and a skin tonic that includes essential oils of rosemary, tea tree, lavender, and peppermint. When the line was introduced in 2008, sales took off immediately and grew by 30% from one year to the next, according to Sue Harmsworth, chief executive of eSpa. Kiehl's, which has 28 men's products, has recently expanded its offerings. Recently, we have gotten a lot of requests from men looking to get rid of puffiness and dark circles under their eyes, said Chris Delgado, president of Kiehl's USA. In response, the company added an eye depuffer to its men's facial feel line this fall.
Soup kitchen workers are seeing new faces in line, and charities are taking more calls for help as the recession makes for a less than bountiful Thanksgiving. Hunger relief advocates came to Congress on Thursday and painted a bleak picture of a country struggling to meet an increased need for food assistance at a time of high unemployment. Charities and nonprofit groups called on lawmakers to give tax incentives to donate to charities, expand federal nutrition programs, and spend more on programs to help people prepare for work. The Northwest Harvest Pantry in Seattle gets more than 2,500 visitors on a busy day, up from a peak of 1,800 just early last year. The congressional hearing on food banks followed an Agricultural Department report that 1 in 7 households struggled to put enough food on the table in 2008. The highest rate since the agency began tracking food security in 1995. That's about 49 million people, or 14.6% of the U.S. households counted as lacking food for an active, healthy life. The Catholic Charities Office in Youngstown, Ohio is getting 70 calls a day for help with food and utilities, up from 100 a month just last year. It will not only take the government being our partner, but it will also take nationwide cooperation, philanthropy, and individual donors to solve the problem of hunger in our country today.
Porsche SE signed off on a contract to merge with its majority-owned, cash-rich subsidiary Volkswagen by 2011, Porsche said on Friday. The next milestone is the 49.9% investment of Volkswagen in Porsche AG by the end of 2009, the company said in a statement, adding the VW board had already approved the deal as expected in a meeting late on Thursday. Porsche's AG's listed parent Porsche SE first needed to create the preconditions for a deal when it successfully restructured last week's billion of euros in bank debt. Porsche's SE's existing credit line of $15.9 billion was replaced with a new credit line of as much as 8.5 billion euros. Previous management at Porsche had argued the sale of a near majority in its operating business to Volkswagen would allow creditors to immediately call their $15.5 billion loan. Porsche paid a symbolic dividend after withdrawing $1.4 billion from retained earnings to offset a massive fiscal year loss.
A sharp pullback put stocks on track for their biggest decline of the month last Thursday. Weighed down by an analyst downgrade of the semiconductor sector and as new economic data failed to quell investor jitters about the U.S. economy. The dollar and treasuries gained while commodities slipped as participants scaled back the risk in their portfolios. The stock market purge represents a rare setback in what has otherwise been a strong run, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average up in 9 of the past 11 full trading sessions. In particular, traders and analysts say small investors in particular are getting increasingly antsy about making new bets on the market. Among the Dow's 30 components, only 3 managed gains. Merck was up 0.6%, while Walmart and Coca-Cola were up 0.2% each. If the average's decline holds through the close, it will top the 94-point decline in November 12th that previously marked the worst day of the month. All of the sectors of the S&P were trading lower, led by a decline of about 2% each in its energy, industrial, basic materials, and financial sectors. The S&P was off 1.6%, while the tech-oriented NASDAQ Composite Index was off 1.8%. The small stock Russell was down 2.5%. On the economic front, a weekly jobless claims figure that came in nearly as expected failed to offset some of the increased pessimism surrounding the world economy that was weighing on markets. The dollar gained against most key counterparts except the yen as investors sought the perceived safety of the U.S. currency. The U.S. dollar index was recently up 0.2%. Gold edged towards a fifth straight closing record despite the dollar's climb. The future on the metal were recently up about $1, trading above $1,142 per ounce. Crude futures were down more than $2, trading near $77.50 per barrel in New York. Treasury prices also edged higher.
Today's Small Cap Dynamic Watch List is brought to you by OTCBB.com, Quote Media Incorporated, QMCI, Mobile Pro Corporation, MOBL, Unigene Laboratories Incorporation, UGNE, Opexa Therapeutics Incorporation, OPXA, Cargo Connection Logistics Holding Line Incorporation, CRGO, Axial Vector Engine Corporation, AXVC. The following companies listed by trading symbol also included in watch list are as followed: XKEM, RGRP, ACHI, IMNR, CKEIE, MGEN, NVAO. Heidi Klum has returned to the catwalk. She was considerably more covered up than the rest of the Victoria's Secret models, but Heidi Klum, who gave birth to her fourth child just 5 weeks ago, proved the biggest crowd pleaser as she strode down the catwalk in a purple corset covered with a half-gown and tulle train. The 36-year-old German model was supposed to be hosting the show, but made a surprise runway appearance to the delight of the audience. Klum, who gave birth to daughter Lou Samuel with her singer husband Seal last month, kept her stomach covered after revealing she is still trying to get her figure back. On Wednesday, she told us she was working with her personal trainer to shed another 20 pounds, so she left the flesh flashing to the likes of Australian model Miranda Kerr, American stunner Marissa Miller, and Brazilian beauty Alessandra Ambrosio.
While green technology has taken off around the world, in several areas, the construction of an environmentally friendly idea has truly sprouted wings. While the enlightened masses try their best to do their part to stave off global warming and reduce the carbon footprint, for some it is simply not enough. And there is now a mecca of the eco-friendly variety, a place where solar is becoming one of the most popular forms of power production. That country is Germany. For some, it may seem odd that the two countries that lost the Second World War would be two of the most forward-thinking nations today in terms of green business innovations. Both Japan and Germany have developed programs that will lessen their emissions and create a space where new ideas can flourish. Despite misgivings, these two nations are ahead of the renewable game, with Germany leading the way in solar power. Through a series of rebate programs and guaranteed rates for those who invest in solar power, the solar industry has boomed in these countries. However, First Solar, FSLR, wasn't able to accrue their projected revenue due to not getting a solar project in Canada until early October. As a result, the price of the stock has been in flux on the NYSE, taking a hit of several dollars over 5 days. The global markets will continue to play a large part in solar development well into the future, as many of the main players in the solar industry are publicly traded. While First Solar has taken a small hit due to unexpected factors, they set the stage for several Chinese solar companies in a very unfriendly market. Yet another blow to big tobacco. A Florida jury on Thursday ordered cigarette maker Philip Morris to pay $330 million in damages to a 61-year-old ex-smoker who is wheelchair-bound by emphysema. The Broward Circuit Court jury assessed $56.6 million in past and future medical expenses against the company, as well as $244 million in punitive damages. The verdict is the largest of like cases that have been tried so far. Philip Morris will seek further review of the verdict because of numerous erroneous rulings by the trial judge. I'm Brandon Vincent, and on behalf of all of us here at TBC, we want to thank you for joining us for another TBC Daily News Update.